person named Osama Bin Laden.
Plane has crashed into the world.
فهي أمريكا قد أصابها الله سبحانه وتعالى في مقتل من مقاتلها فدمر أعظم مبانيها.
Admiration for what was then the world's most wanted terrorist, responsible for killing thousands.
With the representative from the FAA trying to track some of the conspirators.
We knew this was Osama Bin Laden.
Either you are with us or you are with the terrorists.
The terror attack on the World Trade Center, Twin Towers, on the 11th of September.
We're at war. We will find those who did it, and we'll bring them to justice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda, and a terrorist who's responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children.
The Middle East, lands that have been drenched in blood for centuries.
Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda,
And a terrorist responsible for the murder of thousands of innocent men, women, and children. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation. The president looked me in the eyes and asked, "Michel, who did this?" All the evidence we gathered pointed in one direction, toward one name. The prime suspect, Osama bin Laden. We must defeat the wicked. We must capture them and bring them to justice. That's exactly what we set out to do in Afghanistan. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the United States awoke to a bright, sunny day. New York City was as lively as ever, the rhythm of an ordinary morning. But that beautiful day would soon turn into one of the darkest chapters in human history. 4 commercial airliners were hijacked simultaneously. 2 of them slammed into the World Trade Center towers. Another struck the heart of American military power, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. The 4th crashed into an empty field after passengers fought back in a desperate struggle, preventing it from reaching the U.S. Capitol. In the deadliest attack in American history, nearly 3,000 lives were lost. Who was behind it? This was not chaos born of chance, but the result of perfect coordination, precision, and massive logistical power. In the first hours, officials avoided naming names, but soon, all eyes turned to one man, Osama bin Laden, America's most wanted, perhaps the world's most wanted. To some, he was a puppet of the West. To others, the embodiment of pure evil. The man who became the subject of countless conspiracy theories was in fact the son of one of Saudi Arabia's most powerful families. His father, Mohammed bin Laden, was the royal family's favored builder, entrusted with grand projects across the holy cities from Mecca to Medina. The bin Laden name became synonymous with wealth, privilege, and influence, one of the richest dynasties in the kingdom. Osama was educated in elite schools in Jeddah, then went on to study economics and engineering at King Abdulaziz University. In the 1970s and 80s, the bin Laden family built strong business ties with the United States, investing heavily in New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. They embraced Western life, modern clothing, art, music, luxury cars, and lavish villas. Some even attended Harvard and Cambridge. Osama, too, followed that path for a while. In 1971, at just 14 years old, he traveled to Oxford, England, to study English. After only 4 months, he returned to Saudi Arabia, but something in him had changed. He turned away from the West. He immersed himself in religion. He withdrew into himself, embracing a strict, puritanical interpretation of Islam. The suffering of Palestinians and the belief that Muslims were being exploited by the West pushed him toward radicalization. While his family continued to invest billions in Western ventures, Osama bin Laden forged a completely different identity, one rooted in ideology, isolation, and vengeance. After leaving his university years behind, Osama bin Laden turned his focus to Afghanistan. He rode horseback through the rugged mountains, living among fighters in caves hidden by shadowed peaks. But his real power lay not on the battlefield, it lay in his wealth. In the 1980s, he funneled millions of dollars from his family fortune into the Islamic Jihad movement and the Afghan Mujahideen. This money supplied weapons, vehicles, and infrastructure, the hidden veins of a war that only he nourished. Soon, he became the organizer of the Mujahideen, recruiting young fighters from all corners of the globe to join the Afghan Jihad. At the same time, the United States decided to support the jihad against the Soviets in Afghanistan, indirectly aligning with bin Laden. Though they never fought side by side, they were allies of convenience against a common enemy. By 1989, when the Soviets withdrew from Afghanistan, the Mujahideen celebrated victory. Western media hailed a new hero, the young Arab billionaire and jihadist leader, Osama bin Laden. No longer just a man in the shadows of mountains, he had become a figure recognized across the world. But thousands of fighters still answered to him. With the war over, he decided to make his Mujahideen network permanent, and a new organization was born, Al-Qaeda. The Gulf War marked a turning point. The permanent presence of American troops on Saudi soil fueled his hatred toward the United States. Over time, that anger hardened into ideology, a personal and global vendetta. America became the enemy. The superpower that had once supported him indirectly now became the target of his wrath. The man who had once been a CIA ally in Afghanistan would, years later, order the September 11th attacks, turning into America's #1 enemy. Historians have often pointed to the irony in a single sentence. America created its own monster. But bin Laden was not the only mind behind the attacks. Let's look at Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the architect. Here is a photograph of him. Disheveled hair, a puffy face from sleep. At first glance, almost comical. Yet he was one of the few men to reshape world history. Contrary to appearances, he was no joke. He was the operational genius behind the largest attack in American history. It was he who presented the idea of hijacking 4 planes to Osama bin Laden, designing every technical detail. Though his disheveled, pajama-clad image became an online joke, in reality, he orchestrated an attack that would claim over 3,000 lives. The photo was taken during a raid in Pakistan on March 1, 2003, the very day of his birthday. Behind the Einstein-like chaos of his appearance lay one of the world's most cunning minds. Like Osama bin Laden, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed was an engineer, trained in mechanical and physics disciplines at North Carolina University. What set him apart was not leadership, but operational creativity and planning genius. In the 1990s, he devised the Bojinka plot, a plan to simultaneously blow up 12 airliners mid-air and even assassinate the Pope. The plan was foiled in the Philippines, but it planted the seed for September 11th. The idea of turning airplanes into weapons began to take shape. It was a logistical, pilotage, and cell structure nightmare, incredibly complex. When Khalid presented the plan to bin Laden, the initial reaction was disbelief. Impossible, bin Laden said. But Khalid laid out months of detailed preparation. Bin Laden was convinced. And thus, the United States faced one of its darkest days in history. A disaster born from the minds of 2 men, yet with ultimate responsibility resting on Osama bin Laden. 9 days after the attacks, President George W. Bush addressed Congress. He named the culprit, Osama bin Laden and his shadow organization, Al-Qaeda. This announcement marked the dawn of a new era. When the Taliban refused to surrender bin Laden, a doctrine of counterterrorism was enacted, and the invasion of Afghanistan began. The United States launched Operation Enduring Freedom. Within weeks, the Taliban regime collapsed. But where was bin Laden hiding? The largest manhunt in modern history had been ongoing for years. Finally, 57 days after the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan, the CIA traced Osama bin Laden to a remote, fortified compound near the Afghanistan-Pakistan border, in the rugged terrain of Tora Bora Mountains. On December 3, 2001, the United States deployed its largest aircraft to the area. For 16 days, the skies rained fire, a continuous bombardment unseen since World War II. The heaviest conventional bombs in the inventory were used. The total impact equaled 1/3 of the Hiroshima atomic bomb. The mountains, literally, were leveled. After the aerial assault, ground troops moved in. But bin Laden's body was not found. Intelligence suggested he might be dead, but uncertainty remained. Early 2002, a video broadcast on Al Jazeera changed everything. Osama bin Laden was alive, calm, composed, defiant. He combed his beard, sipped tea, and criticized American attacks, appearing as the man who had survived the mightiest army on earth. For years, he disappeared into the shadows. President George W. Bush repeatedly claimed progress, yet the CIA could not reach him. Occasionally, bin Laden released videos, striking at America's global image. Despite trillions spent, the world's most wanted man eluded capture. All of that changed just 1 year before Barack Obama's election. At the 2011 White House Correspondents' Dinner, a glamorous annual media event unfolded. Politicians, journalists, and celebrities gathered in laughter, light, and spectacle. President Obama, as usual, jested with Donald Trump. But elsewhere, thousands of miles away in Afghanistan, a special Navy SEAL team prepared for a secret mission. Their target, the suspected hideout of Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The compound, purchased in 2004, was isolated, surrounded by high walls, inaccessible, with no visitors allowed. A hidden top floor was thought to be bin Laden's refuge, its windows opaque, impossible to see inside. On one side, a high-walled balcony. The property was dangerously close to a Pakistani military academy, an operational as well as political risk. Months before the mission, the SEAL team trained in North Carolina in an exact replica of the Abbottabad compound. Every wall, corridor, and corner memorized. The helicopters used were specially modified Blackhawks, stealth-equipped to evade radar. They had to fly low, hugging the terrain to avoid detection. 3 additional Chinook helicopters followed as backup, ready to intervene in case of complications. At 2300 local time, the Blackhawks lifted off from Jalalabad Air Base, slicing through the night toward Abbottabad. 1 helicopter hovered over the roof, ready to insert SEALs from above. The other landed at the front, encircling the compound. But gravity, not the enemy, disrupted the plan. A rotor vortex trapped the lead helicopter, forcing it into the compound's courtyard. From that moment, survival instincts drove every decision. Miraculously, all SEALs survived the crash. The second helicopter landed as planned. The SEALs swept the perimeter, cutting off escape routes, then breached the guest house. The first target inside, Ahmed al-Kuwaiti, bin Laden's longtime courier. He fired, but was killed immediately. His wife was wounded. Every step now brought the team closer to bin Laden. The CIA had traced him via the courier's cell phone, the starting point of the operation. Inside the main house, the SEALs encountered Abrar, the courier's brother, armed or not, still killed along with his wife. They breached the floor to access the upper levels. Metal security doors had to be blasted open. They confronted bin Laden's son Khalid, holding an AK-47. He resisted, but was shot and killed. Finally, the moment the world had waited for, Osama bin Laden appeared. The SEALs were ascending the stairs when he opened a second-floor metal door to see what was happening. He quickly recoiled upon seeing the team, too late to shut the door. Panic set in. The SEALs followed him into a bedroom on the second floor. Inside, 3 women and bin Laden. 2 women, possibly wearing suicide vests, were immediately taken down. A third tried to shield him. Seconds later, she was shot. Then, Osama bin Laden himself was shot, killed within moments. Reports indicate he was unarmed, despite 2 loaded firearms in the room. He had worn a special outfit sewn with €500 bills and phone numbers, presumably for escape, but it was of no use. The operation was over in a matter of minutes, yet the chaos left no room for doubt. The world's most wanted man was dead. SEALs swiftly swept the compound, collecting every digital trace: computers, phones, USB drives. Unreported children were also found inside. Meanwhile, one Chinook retrieved the majority of the team and evidence. The downed helicopter, containing top-secret stealth technology, was destroyed with explosives to prevent it from falling into enemy hands. Bin Laden's body was flown to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. DNA tests and facial recognition confirmed his identity. He was washed, shrouded according to Islamic tradition, and then buried at sea from the USS Carl Vinson, preventing any gravesite from becoming a shrine. What happened to Osama bin Laden's body sparked immediate debate. According to U.S. intelligence reports, his remains were transported with the SEAL team to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. DNA testing and facial recognition confirmed his identity. He was washed, shrouded in accordance with Islamic tradition, and then buried at sea aboard the USS Carl Vinson. The reason? To prevent his grave from becoming a shrine. Yet this decision fueled countless conspiracy theories. Some claim the operation never occurred. It was staged as a political theater, timed perfectly 1 year before Obama's 2012 election. Critics argued the White House used the event to strengthen voter perception, targeting public trust as much as terrorism. Questions remained. If bin Laden was truly killed, why was there no photograph released? Why no video or autopsy report? Despite SEALs having helmet and chest cameras, no footage was publicly released. Only the famous photo of Obama and his team in the White House Situation Room was shared. The official stance: this was a kill mission, not a capture mission. Some theorists suggest bin Laden died years earlier, between 2002 and 2006, and the 2011 raid was merely a ceremonial closure. CIA's inability to locate him for 10 years adds fuel to this claim. Even Pakistan's former Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto in 2007 publicly stated, "Bin Laden is already dead." Other theories suggest bin Laden may still be alive today. If true, he would be 68 years old. Whether free or under secret custody remains unknown. No one ever saw his body. Yet despite the theories, some facts are undeniable. The Abbottabad compound became a global symbol. On Google Maps, user tags labeled it as Bin Laden's mansion, quickly going viral. Journalists collecting debris from the raid forced Pakistani authorities to demolish the house. The downed helicopter, packed with stealth technology, allegedly fell into the hands of Chinese intelligence, causing friction between Washington and Islamabad. Pakistan's public had different questions. How did stealth helicopters enter the country undetected? How did a 3-story, high-walled, isolated compound remain unnoticed for years? And why was bin Laden so close to Pakistan's elite military academy? Adding to the tension, the CIA had conducted a fake vaccination campaign before the raid, attempting to gather DNA samples to confirm bin Laden's presence. Months later, some SEAL team members involved in the raid died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan, interpreted by some as revenge operations. 2 decades later, Afghanistan is back under Taliban control. Even though the United States withdrew, the war on terror left millions of lives in ruin. From the Middle East to Africa, conflict, displacement, and destruction ripple across nations. The superpower, America demonstrated its ability to reshape global order with a single, precise strike. Yet the post-9/11 era also revealed deep, unresolvable shadows in geopolitics. History, as the great thinkers say, is written by those who shape narrative, not facts. Public perception is manipulated, and the illusion of freedom becomes the refined tool of control. The story of Osama bin Laden, trained, radicalized, and turned into a global symbol of terror, reflects power, ambition, betrayal, and the shadows of secret plans. Even today, countless questions remain unanswered. Was he really killed that night? Or had he been buried long before, and the 2011 operation served as a political finale? One thing is certain: the dagger that struck the heart of America on September 11th did more than destroy buildings. It shattered the global balance. And the question remains: did Osama bin Laden act by his own will, shaping history? Or was he merely a pawn in a larger chess game?